Welcome to Have More Babies. We're here to cut through the noise, take all that dense source material, and basically give you the key takeaways you need. Fast. I'm Stella. Today, we're diving into something really crucial: pediatric healthcare professionals. We want to understand their role, the services they offer. Basically, who are these people looking after our kids' health?
That's right. And when you look at the sources, it's pretty clear how much pediatrics has expanded. It's not just about weighing and measuring anymore. It's this really comprehensive system now. Our deep dive today shows pediatricians are kind of like the unsung heroes behind healthy, happy kids, managing everything from checkups to mental health.
Okay, let's unpack that. For listeners who get the basics, what's the real core insight here? What are we trying to get at? Our goal is to understand the impact of this care, right?
Yeah.
Why choosing that right pediatric team from the very beginning, infancy through the teen years, is just so fundamental.
Well, the insight is that pediatric care is essential because childhood is just this incredibly rapid, vulnerable stage.
Yeah.
A pediatrician isn't just a doctor for kids. They're specialists, ensuring optimal health, yes, but also coordinating all that growth, physical, cognitive, emotional. If things go off track during this period, the effects can really ripple out for years, even decades.
And the main defense against those ripples, based on what we read, seems to be preventive care. We know about checkups, vaccines, but what's the underlying strategy? What's the actual goal of all those routine visits?
The goal is prediction and getting ahead of problems. Preventive care is like a really good early warning system for health. Regular checkups, shots, that's the basic protection. But the exam itself during those visits, that's designed to catch really subtle stuff. Are motor skills on track? Is language developing okay? Being able to spot and, fix potential health or developmental issues before they get serious or before they start causing other problems, that's probably the most powerful tool they have. And the sources really stress this. Keeping kids physically healthy directly supports their emotional and cognitive growth. It's all connected.
That totally makes sense. But okay, that preventive role must shift quite a bit when you're dealing with chronic ailments, right? Like
Yeah.
if a child has something ongoing, maybe diabetes or severe asthma, the pediatrician's job changes from just watching to more like managing.
Oh, absolutely. When a chronic condition is involved, things get way more complex. The pediatrician often becomes the central coordinator for that child's whole health network. It means constant teamwork with other specialists, could be cardiologists, endocrinologists, therapists, a whole team.
How does that even work in practice, though? The sources talk about needing intense cooperation, compliance, monitoring, therapy. The pediatrician has to take all that specialist jargon and turn it into something the family can actually do every day.
It's definitely a high level of integration. They need a really close relationship with the family because, the plan happens at home, not just in the clinic. Their job isn't just writing prescriptions. It's teaching parents how to follow the plan, solving problems with daily monitoring, making sure the family has what they need, sometimes even practical support so the child can thrive despite the illness.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting, I think. Beyond just the medical side, the sources are pretty clear that today's pediatricians wear a whole bunch of different hats.
Hmm.
They're doing way more than just standard doctor duties.
Yeah, if you boil down the roles from the sources, you see just how much different expertise is involved.
Yeah.
Of course, there's the diagnostician, figuring out symptoms, ordering tests, finding cures, but almost immediately they switch into being an educator.
Oh.
And as the educator, they're focused on well-being by giving parents and caregivers that foundational knowledge. Not just about eating veggies, but things like developmental benchmarks, milestones. What should parents be looking for at home? They basically empower the parents to be that first line of defense.
Right, giving them the curriculum for healthy development. But I want to pause on this next role, the counselor. The sources mention providing emotional solace and guidance. How does a primary care pediatrician, maybe in a quick visit, really do that effectively versus just, sending them off to a specialist?
That's a really good question. And the sources kind of frame it as providing that initial emotional support and validation. They aren't doing long-term therapy, obviously,
Right.
but they offer that understanding ear, that professional reassurance when families are stressed about an illness or an injury or some tricky developmental thing.
So like a first responder for family anxiety.
Exactly. They sort of triage the emotional situation. They give good information right away, connect the family to resources if needed. It helps stabilize things, so if specialized counseling is needed, it can be more effective. The point is, making sure the family doesn't feel alone or totally overwhelmed.
Which leads right into their community roles, doesn't it? The sources talk about them being a community health advocate working to improve well-being for everyone in the area. What does that look like, practically speaking?
Well, it often means they're championing public health stuff, like
Wow.
promoting vaccine campaigns, maybe pushing for better school lunches, or even pointing out local environmental issues affecting kids' health, like air quality. They use the info they see in their practice to advocate for bigger changes.
And connected to that is being an advocate for children's rights. This sounds serious, protecting kids from harm, ensuring safety. That could mean reporting suspected neglect, right?
Right.
Or pushing for better accessibility in public spaces.
It's a heavy responsibility, for sure. And they can't do it alone, which is why the sources also emphasize them being a team player. Working closely with other professionals, physical therapists, speech therapists, mental health providers is absolutely vital. The pediatrician kind of acts like the project manager, making sure all the specialized advice comes together into one clear plan for the child.
Let's shift gears a bit now and talk about going beyond the purely physical. Pediatric care increasingly includes behavioral and emotional health. And the sources are really strong on this point. Intervening early with behavioral stuff is critical. It prevents much bigger problems later on.
That's a huge takeaway. Addressing behavioral or emotional issues early on gives this massive return on investment financially, emotionally for the whole family. Handling these concerns proactively helps stop smaller issues from snowballing into, serious mental health crises down the road.
Are they actually screening for this stuff now?
Yes, pediatricians are using screening tools much more often now to pick up risks for things like anxiety, depression, ADHD, much earlier than they used to. The idea is to make talking about mental wellness a normal part of regular checkups.
And how do they encourage good emotional growth? The sources mention a few ways.
It's layered. It starts inside the family, counseling parents on how to create a supportive home environment, because that's huge for emotional well-being. They also push physical activity, knowing how much movement helps with resilience.
And when outside help is needed.
And the pediatrician is that key connection point. They link families up with resources, maybe specialized counselors, school support, programs that help kids build coping skills.
You can really see the ripple effect on family mental health, can't you? If a child is struggling behaviorally, it puts enormous stress on everyone.
Absolutely. So having access to good pediatric care that tackles these things proactively, it makes a huge difference to the mental health of the entire family.
It's not just about referrals for treatment then.
No, it's broader. By spotting things that could impact a child's mental health, they connect families with community resources too. Social workers, support groups, things that help the whole family system, not just treating the symptom.
Okay, looking forward now, we have to talk about technology. Innovations and advancements are really changing the game in pediatric healthcare.
Oh, definitely. Things are moving fast. One of the biggest shifts is telemedicine. And it's not just a quick video chat. It allows for ongoing, convenient remote check-ins, diagnosis, follow-up. It's a game changer, especially for families who don't live near a clinic. You can monitor chronic conditions much more easily.
And then there's the really high-tech stuff like precision medicine. What does that actually mean for a parent and their child?
Precision medicine is getting more common. It basically means moving away from generic treatments. It lets doctors tailor treatment plans based on a child's specific genetic makeup or biomarkers. So for a kid with a complex illness, this could mean super targeted drug doses or therapies that work better and have fewer side effects. Big improvement in outcomes.
Wow. And technology is even helping with mental health directly. You mentioned teletherapy, apps, even virtual reality.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. For things like phobias or intense anxiety, even managing pain, VR therapy offers controlled exposure in a safe setting. Digital apps can help track mood, sleep, or offer quick mindfulness exercises. Technology is really bridging that gap between the doctor's office and everyday support.
Okay, let's pull back to the practical side for a second. All this future tech is exciting, but parents need to know about the day-to-day services that make life manageable. A really good practice needs to offer convenient, integrated care, right?
Integration is definitely key. Modern practices are trying to offer more under one roof. Obviously, they handle acute and preventive care, sick visits, well visits, but they also offer crucial things like dedicated after-hours care, so you're not running to the ER for every little thing.
And other specific services, too.
Right? Things that really add value, especially for new parents, like lactation services for breastfeeding support, or even handling things like medical ear piercings in a safe, sterile environment, or providing newborn circumcision after the baby leaves the hospital. The goal is to be a one-stop shop for pretty much any medical need a graying family might have.
And making sure people can actually access this care is huge. The sources mention wide insurance coverage being important.
Yeah, comprehensive support means working with major private insurance plans like Aetna, Cigna, United Healthcare, TRICARE, but also prioritizing vital state programs like Peach Care for Kids here in Georgia. It's about reaching as many families as possible.
And being physically present with families are.
Exactly.
You-
Serving different areas matters. Alpharetta, Roswell, Marietta, Johns Creek, places like that. Good pediatric care shouldn't just be in one central location. It needs to be accessible across the community.
So, wrapping this all together, the main takeaway seems to be that the best pediatric teams build real, strong relationships with families. They create personalized health plans that fit the family's life and specific needs. It's way beyond just generic advice.
And what that means for you, the listener, it means putting your child's health in the hands of a team like that gives you real peace of mind. You have experts who are not just treating illnesses, but are truly advocating for your child's entire development, physical, mental, emotional, giving them the best possible start.
Absolutely. So if this discussion about the many roles of pediatric care has got you thinking, and maybe you're looking for a team that really embraces this whole child integrated approach, with info on their specific services, insurance details, their philosophy, we really recommend visiting omegapediatrics.com. That's omegapediatrics.com.
Yeah, check them out. And hey, if this conversation helped clarify things for you, if it helped you understand the critical role of pediatric care today, do us a favor. Please like this video, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our next deep dive, and maybe share this with other parents or caregivers, spread the word.
Thanks so much for tuning in to Have More Babies. We'll see you next time.